Have you sacrificed sleep so that you could keep working, grab drinks with a friend, or watch an extra episode of Netflix? Have you woke up on some mornings and immediately felt ready to go back to sleep? Have there been days you don't even feel like you are awake until lunch rolls around? Today I want to talk about the importance of prioritizing our sleep and how by doing so it allows us to feel refreshed and ready for the day ahead. Yes, it is okay to sacrifice a few hours here and there when needed, but for the most part, we should push to get as much rest as possible because our body and minds need it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Each week on these solo podcasts, I try to share some insight on topics to help you become the best version of yourself. Do I have all the answers? Absolutely not. This is just my bearded wisdom that I hope brings value to you. If you enjoy this episode at any moment in time, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you are listening in on. Post it to your IG story and tag me. That's at Bob, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's and a Y. Share it out and let me know what the biggest takeaway was or what you enjoyed the most. It is so much appreciated. The importance of sleep. One of the greatest learnings that I've had due to the pandemic is how important sleep is to my overall well-being and productivity. Yes, we've all heard doctors and people preach the importance of sleep, but yet we push it away and tell ourselves we are Superman or Superwoman and we don't need it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you need it. Because I wasn't commuting to and from an office like many of you for work, and especially those first couple months when we were in complete lockdown, I started to get more rest and sleep than I've ever gotten in a long time. Now, in the past, I pretty much had trained my body to run on 6 to 7 hours of sleep on average, with a few slip-ups here and there that would be, sometimes under 6. But because of the pandemic, I started to allow myself somewhere between 8 and 9. And boy, did I immediately feel a difference. Once things slowly started to open up again, and we've been able to feel some sense of normalcy, I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't allow this sleep schedule to change. I felt the difference in my headspace, my creativity, my excitement for the day ahead, and my physical body. No longer did I feel like a zombie for the first 2 hours of my day. I was now fired up immediately after hearing that alarm clock go off because I was rested and ready to tackle the day ahead. Of course, there will be exceptions, but for the most part, I try to be very aware of what I commit to, and if I know it's going to disrupt the bearded man's sleep, we may have a problem. And I'm unapologetic about it. And I'll pass on these opportunities if it means I need to sacrifice on my sleep. So what does my sleep schedule look like? It's a little backwards than what most people would think. I work hard during the week and catch up sleep during the weekends, right? No. Although I do work hard during the week, that is actually when I get into my best sleep schedule. Sunday through Thursday, I buckle down and I really push to get a solid 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I barely leave my house and every day feels like the same, which helps me get into a routine and a rhythm of getting shit done. So typically, I try to tuck myself into bed and pass out by 8:30ish, and I wake up at 5 a.m. every day during the week. It's now, not easy to do, but you get into a rhythm and you figure it out. This helps me push to get that 8 to 9 hours of sleep so that when I wake up, I feel extremely rested and ready to go. Do I think all of you need to get up at 5 a.m.? Absolutely not. I just enjoy the stillness of the early mornings when nobody is hitting me up so I can be creative and I can take time to think through podcast episodes like this. Once the weekend comes, the sleep schedule goes out the door. I may be up to midnight, 2 a.m., 6 a.m. I'll tell you right now, that 5 a.m. alarm clock does not exist on the weekends. And I try to steer away from any alarm clock at all just so that my body can get as much rest as it feels it needs. The problem is that my body gets so used to this sleep schedule during the week that no matter what time I go to sleep, I somehow wake up around 6, 7, or 8 with my mind running, ready to go. And my body's telling me, my guy, you got to go back to sleep. You need the rest. Now, no regrets. I'm having the time of my life on the weekends right now. So I'll sacrifice the sleep now and catch up on it during the week. And that's, about being flexible and with the whole sleep schedule. And like anything in life, it's all about balance, ladies and gentlemen. So all this to say, sleep is extremely important. Being 27 years young, I know that I can cave and operate on less sleep than I need to. I know that I can be out till 5 a.m., wake up at 9 a.m., and be fueled for the day ahead. Regardless, I tried to commit to at least 5 solid days per week of a solid sleep schedule because I have seen the benefit in my well-being, and I try not to sacrifice that. So how to prioritize our sleep? Number 1, find how many hours you need. First things first, I am not a professional sleep doctor and have zero credibility that I know what I'm talking about. This is simply, as I always remind you beautiful folks, this is just my bearded wisdom, and I'm pulling directly from my own personal experiences. Take it or leave it, totally up to you. With that being said, I think the best first step is to test and see how your body feels when you get X amount of hours of sleep. Now, I'm not suggesting that you make this a game and you try to see how little to no sleep you can run on, but more so just take notice of the days you wake up and feel extremely refreshed versus the ones where you wake up and you feel groggy and not motivated. Ask yourself, how many hours sleep did I get? What did I eat or drink before I went to sleep? Did I scroll on my phone for 60 minutes before passing out? Try to analyze the things you did in the last 12 to 24 hours that might have impacted the way you slept. All these little details are just clues as to why we had a great night of sleep or why we didn't. So when I was slaying the Uber streets back in the day, and I was in that phase of my life, truthfully, I was lucky to get 6, maybe 7 hours of sleep per night. And now there were a handful of days at that time as well that I got under 6, and I made it work. I was in my young heyday, and I was trying to grind, and when you're young like that, you can just go. But I understood that over a long period of time, it's not going to be sustainable. Eventually, it's going to catch up. And so now I've learned that 8 to 9 hours is my sweet spot. Anything more or less than that, and I may be in some trouble. When I say more, it's because you wake up and you feel too tired. Like your body got too much rest. You need to get the juices flowing. Can I operate under the 8 hours? Of course. But I will make sure to catch up on that sleep the following night or as soon as possible. Pay real close attention and you'll feel all the difference once you lock in that sweet sleep spot for you. You'll be 10 times more productive. You'll be excited for the day ahead and your body will feel refreshed. So step number 1 to prioritizing sleep, find how many hours you need and commit to it once you find that sweet spot that makes you feel good on a daily basis. And be unapologetic about it too. Number 2, pick a bedtime and stay committed to it. Now, I'm imagining that 99% of you are laughing at me out loud as I said, pick a bedtime. Hey, bearded man, what are we in middle school again? Who needs a bedtime, my guy? Pump the brakes, killer, okay? I promise you will thank me later. When we pick a bedtime, we are committing ourselves to a schedule which not only helps us ensure that we get the number of hours of sleep that we feel we need, but it helps us make sure that we do not overcommit to something that is going to interrupt this schedule. Like I said, I'm committed to a sleep routine 5 out of 7 nights of the week. No chance that I'm tucked in by 8:30 p.m. on a Friday or Saturday night. Not in this phase of my life right now. That's what I like to call game time on the weekends. Put me in, coach. If we can commit ourselves to following a sleep schedule 5 nights of the week, we're really going to set ourselves up for some really good recovery. Now, laugh at me as much as you want, but I'll pass on dinner, drinks, events, etc. at night if I'm not 110% all in on wanting to be there. Why? Because if it's going to interrupt my beauty sleep, it damn well better excite me to be there. If not, I got to pass. I got to make sure my sleep and my wellness are my number 1 priority. I think most people are afraid to disappoint people by not showing up to something they are invited to or expected to be at. Call me whatever name you want that may be popping in your mind, but I am unapologetic with a capital U about prioritizing myself before anyone else. Why? Because if I'm not looking after myself, who will? Mic drop, baby. You like that? Once you've picked a bedtime, keep your eyes on the prize. Of course, make exceptions when necessary, but try your best to stay committed to the plan as often as possible. Of course, make exceptions, but seriously, stay committed. You will feel the difference, and it will change the next 24 hours for the better when your energy levels, creativity, and alertness are at an all-time high, and you're operating on all cylinders. So step number 2 to prioritizing sleep. Pick a bedtime and stay committed to it. Your body and mind will thank you tomorrow when you're feeling fully recharged and ready to tackle the day ahead. Number 3, create a night routine that works. At this point, I've got my night routine so dialed in that my roommates just know when it's time for me to mail it in. Love the summer months for the warm weather, and there's more light out during the day, but man, do I feel old trying to go to sleep before the sun has completely set. The sky is still baby blue around 8:30 when I'm closing my eyes, but it's all good because that sun is barely rising when I wake up to jumpstart my day anyway. Not only is picking a bedtime and staying committed to it really important, but so is a night routine. Mine is pretty straightforward, and that's the way I like it. 8 p.m. rolls around. I make my way to the bedroom, aka the cave is what I call it. I shut the blinds, I brush my teeth, I fire up the fan, you know what I'm saying? Gotta love that white noise, and I tuck myself into bed. By 8:10, I find something to watch on YouTube for maybe 15, 20 minutes to help me wind down. Now, 99% of the time, it's something inspirational like a podcast or a YouTuber that I follow so that I can end my day with some wisdom. 8:20, 8:30ish rolls around, lights out, phone goes on Do Not Disturb, close my eyes, and usually within 5 minutes maybe, I'm out like a light. Just like that. Gonzo. B.O.B. Snoozing. The night routine is so simple, but I found it to be the best way to switch gears from go from the day to slow down and get ready to pass out. I feel very fortunate that I am able to pass out so quickly most nights, and I think that's because of a magnitude of reasons. My dieting, my physical fitness daily, my work ethic of trying to make every minute of the day count. You add these 3 together, and by the end of the day, my body is tanked, and I need that sleep to recover for the next day. Now, I've heard plenty of other night routines out there for people. Leave the phone outside the bedroom, no TV or screen time for 60 minutes before bed, do a 15-minute meditation, etc., etc. I don't think there is a right or wrong way. I think we all just need to test and try to see what works for us. Some of you may try my routine and find it to be not very helpful, and others may find it to work perfectly for them. You gotta test and try to see what works best for you. Once it clicks, go all in on it. So step number 3 to prioritizing sleep. Test and try different night routines until you find the one that helps you slow down from the day. Once it clicks, stick with it. To recap, prioritizing our sleep is crucial for our overall well-being and productivity. If we neglect it, it will eventually catch up to us in time, and it is for sure not sustainable. Once we get into a rhythm of getting great sleep, we can see and feel a noticeable difference, which is going to help us stay committed to that routine. So 3 steps to prioritizing sleep. Number 1, find how many hours you need. Find how many hours you need and commit to it once you find that sweet spot that makes you feel good on a daily basis. Number 2, pick a bedtime and stay committed to it. Your body and mind will thank you tomorrow when you are feeling fully recharged and recovered, ready to tackle the day ahead. Number 3, create a night routine that works. Test and try different night routines until you find the one that helps you slow down from the day. Once it clicks, stick with it. Challenge for the listeners. Be honest with yourself and ask, do you prioritize your sleep or do you sacrifice it more often than you probably should? For the next week, spend 5 minutes every morning at some point and document how your sleep was, how you feel this morning, and see what the similarities are on the days you feel great versus the days you feel good versus the days you feel the worst. The answers will be there. The reason as to why you feel great on certain days versus worse on others, take notice and pay attention. I guarantee you'll be able to see what helps you feel the greatest, and whatever that routines look like and whatever causes you to feel great the next day, stick to that. Questions from the BMC. That is the Bearded Man community. If it's your first time listening, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now part of the community. Costs you $0 a month, $0 per year. You're just automatically enrolled, so thank you for joining. We had submitted from both Ben and Robbie. What have you found to be important night routines that allow you to fall asleep fast? So like I was talking about earlier, to me, I think it's two things. It's the daytime decisions that help the night. It's the daytime decisions that I make that I think help me pull out all the energy out of me. So it's, like I said, getting in that 60 minutes of physical fitness per day, eating a clean diet, keeping myself busy just throughout the day, using up all the brain juice that I've got. And then it's right when that nighttime comes around, like I was talking about earlier, just spending 15, 20 minutes watching something in bed allows me to shift gears and go from that fast pace, like hustle, grind, let's get shit done, to, okay, it's time to slow down, time to reset, trying to get some sleep, wake up, do it all over again. And I think another big thing is just learning how to follow my breath, which has helped me slow my mind down, not let it go a million other places of what else needs to get done, where do I need to be next week, who's coming in for a podcast, all these other things, just slow down. And the other thing is too, is when I toss my phone on do not disturb mode, I don't check it till the morning. And even then, I don't even check noties and all that stuff until 3 hours into the beginning of the day. Overall, for me, the name of the game is to crush the day so that by the time I'm ready to go to sleep, go to bed, I feel I need it. My body's like, Bearded Man, we need the recovery from my mind and my body. Time to go to sleep. So I think that's been really important, which allows me to fall asleep, is some of the daytime decisions, which leads into the nighttime routine, which then allows me to fall asleep fast. We had a question submitted from my man Chris. He said, tips for insomniacs. Now, I don't know if this is the case for most insomniacs, but I believe that most people can't fall asleep because their mind is still running a million miles an hour. It's pretty ironic that last night, this is exactly what was happening to me. Sunday night going into Monday morning, usually my mind is running a million miles an hour. Looking back on the weekend of running and having fun and just doing a lot of things, I'm like, wow, that was a crazy weekend. My mind's going a million different places and I can't slow it down. I think that is probably the reason most insomniacs and people who can't fall asleep is because our minds are running a million miles an hour. Now, one of the greatest hacks that I've learned to falling asleep is meditation. Like I was talking about earlier about following my breath. By learning to follow the flow of our breath, it calms the mind and it helps us slow down. I would also say that keep inventory of, like I was talking about earlier, how much daily fitness are you getting in? What's the diet you look like? What does your diet look like? All these little decision making throughout the day that we make, it all plays a role into how we sleep and if we can fall asleep. So I truthfully think that the mind is extremely powerful, and I believe that with time and repetition of working on it, you can learn ways to help you fall asleep faster. So Chris, if you're listening, first tip from me to you would be learning to incorporate meditation into sleep, which really is just about learning to follow your breath and letting that calm you into falling asleep. And then just taking inventory of what does your day look like? Are you keeping busy? Are you laying around all day and then trying to fall asleep? It's probably hard to fall asleep if somebody's just sitting on the couch all day. I think Chris isn't that guy, but I'm just using that as an example. So I think there is a way to overcome insomniac for anybody that is listening and struggles with that. So today we have the pod review of the week. This is every week we review, a pod review, hence the pod review of the week. Bob, you are cooked. So this review is coming in from Stephen Page. So shout out to my man, Stephen Page. The subject is taking us all to the moon. Wow. Elon Musk would be proud, but that is a hell of a subject for the review. 5 out of 5 stars. Let's go. He said, Really appreciate that Bobby is en route to his dream and is completely candid about the process and how we can get there with him. Super unique perspective in this category. Keep it rolling, Bobby! ! Steven, I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, it's all about being candid. I think I've talked about this many times on this podcast. If you want to be a podcaster at the highest level, in my opinion, you got to be willing to share it all, and you got to be your most authentic and vulnerable self. And especially on these solo pods, this is what I would call my therapy session. This is my little 15-minute window every single week where I get to just talk about the things that are relevant to me and things that are on my mind. And so hopeful that it impacts people that do listen to it. And clearly, based on your review, Steven, I'm hoping that it is. So I appreciate you supporting, and I hope I provide more value with some of these podcasts. Also, let's take a quick second to appreciate this is episode 101. That means that on Monday, we dropped episode 100. Incredible ride thus far. I mean, I could spend a whole episode just talking about it, but just know that I appreciate anyone out there listening and that's tuning in. This has been an incredible journey thus far. It's pretty much been 100 episodes since last July when I really buckled down and started pumping out 2 podcasts per week. And it's allowed me to find my identity again. There was a long period it felt long, at least in the time of 9 months of not podcasting at all, and not sure what that next direction was going to look like. And it was very scary ending one show and starting a new one, but ultimately it was the greatest thing that I ever did. And I really, truly believe that these are the best 100 episodes I've ever created in my career just yet. And even now, I just feel like every episode at this moment in time is just getting better and better. And I'm really starting to learn, just the way I want to approach guest podcasts, the way I want to approach solo podcasts, and where the direction of this podcast is going. So if you're listening, thank you. It truthfully means the world to me. Without people like Steven who left a review, without people like you listening right now that have shared it out on your IG story, it's not possible. We are at 68 reviews. We were trying to get 100 by 100, but you know what? It's all good, baby. We're going to have 1,000 reviews before we even get to episode 1,000. So thank you so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Really, really appreciate it. As we wrap up this podcast, if you've enjoyed this episode at all, please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you were listening in on and post it to your IG story. Let me know what the greatest learning, what the biggest takeaway was. Be very super curious to hear that. My IG is @Babe. That's B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. And let me know. This is the first solo pod that we've ever covered sleep. Pretty interesting. It kind of popped in my mind last week. I was like, that would be a good topic. A lot of stuff I feel like that I've covered on these solo pods is very much productivity and trying to help people become the greatest version of themselves by taking that step towards the life they truly want to live. But I think there's still so many other layers and buckets to dive into, and I'm kind of trying to do that more often. So this sleep was a great example of never talked about sleep on an entire podcast, and I hope it was valuable. So if there's any subject or topic you would like me to cover, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I will definitely consider it and try to put my little bearded wisdom into answering your question or your topic. That's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 101. Prioritize sleep. Our mind and body will thank us. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya!